You're listening to the Open Books Podcast.
Your next chapter starts now.
Is it love, 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 love that I'm feeling? Is it love, 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 love that I'm feeling? Is she the one?
Welcome back to the Open Books Podcast. On today's episode, we are going to cover and break down the novel Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. But before that, Colby, how are you?
How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm pumped. I have this energy within me that I just want to explode. It's coming out of my fingertips.
It's running through our veins.
It's running through our veins. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. It's like this.
I could burst into fucking tears
Literal
right now.
tears,
I could cry.
Like SpongeBob crash out. How he just constantly combusts.
And it just comes out of the like a waterfall out of the side of our eyeballs.
Yes. He turns into different shapes. He explodes. That's me.
We're not normal. We're far from normal today.
Hey, how are you?
I'm normal, but I'm not.
I did prepare, now that you mentioned SpongeBob, or actually I mentioned SpongeBob, I did prepare something for you. I've been practicing.
It's a song.
Okay, here it goes. When Big Larry came round just to put him down, SpongeBob turned into a clown. And no girl ever wants to dance with a fool who went and ripped his pants. Ever since you did that, I thought that I had everybody on my side. I was like, wait, that song's a fucking banger. We've been listening to it nonstop at home.
The SpongeBob soundtracks are fire.
You mentioned Sweet Victory. Now my children.
Cause of
Sweet Victory.
Yeah.
Leo literally says, put on Sweet Mystery. So cute.
So y'all watch the Bubble Bowl every day.
Yes. Or he'll say put on Rip My Pants. It's so cute.
That's so cute.
I've been dying to give you that one.
Thank you for that. And I'm sorry if I stole the show. I just couldn't miss that moment with you.
No, it's meant to be a duet.
And I kind of got chills.
I know, right?
I'm kind of crying because
it's beautiful.
I've never performed that one with someone. There's actually footage of me somewhere.
Singing SpongeBob?
Yeah, it was on a Labor Day trip. Brooke Gilmore, if you're listening.
Find that footage.
Find the footage.
Find that footage.
Send it in. I'm just being absolutely ridiculous. I was drunk.
Singing SpongeBob?
Hanging off of bunk beds, singing SpongeBob.
I wonder what song it was.
I think it was that one.
It's a perfect song. So speaking of book, this was a question I wanted to ask. You just mentioned it off camera, but I wanted to ask you on camera.
Okay.
How long does it take you typically to forget what you have read?
I think it depends. I could tell you everything that happened and when she returned. Mm-hmm. I can't even tell you every single name of every character in Darling Girls, so maybe it depends on how much I enjoyed a book. But I would say typically a week and a half, 2 weeks, it's gone from my memory. That's kind of sick, though.
Yeah, no, I think I track the same. You're right. I never thought about, I could tell you every detail in a book, Then She Returned, or a book that Verity. The Troop?
Verity.
I remember all the characters, the main plot twist. I guess it's because those books, seriously stuck with us.
Embedded into our brain.
Mm-hmm. But this book, which was a popcorn thriller, typical book that we like, I enjoyed it. But I don't I would say about 2 weeks. I've read this book about a month ago. And
yeah, because you read it way before. This was in your 5-book sprint. 5 books in 2 weeks.
And I read it and I was like, this would just be a good one for the podcast. I've read it a long time ago and I have forgotten a lot. Now, of course, the summary brings back important details, but I just find that interesting. How memory works, really.
Yeah,
interesting concept.
Selective.
Yeah. So I will give y'all the summary, though, to break it down.
Well, wait, before you do that, word from our sponsors. Today's summary is brought to you by Motion by Millie. At Motion by Millie, it's more than just Pilates. It's a lifestyle. Whether you're rebuilding, realigning, or just reclaiming your power, this is your space to move with purpose. Your strength starts at Motion by Millie. Book your first class today. You can book your class on the Mind Body app. Just search up Motion by Millie. Beautiful. We love it here.
We love it here. Clearly, it's a beautiful studio. It's a perfect place to come.
It's a vibe.
Really
if you want to vibe while you work out, that's a big thing for me.
Simply vibe.
If you want to simply vibe, good music, good people, come to Motion by Millie.
It is a big thing for me, too. The atmosphere, the looks, the aesthetics. I want to be in a beautiful place.
Agreed.
And this place surely is beautiful. So thank you, Amber.
Of course.
Okay, so now let's get into the summary of Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. I do want to mention we do like this author a lot. we've read several things by her. One of the first books that got us like into our little book club, our little local book club was what was it called?
Oh my God! I was supposed to like shout out the parish plot twist.
Shout them out.
The mother-in-law.
The Mother-in-Law, which we really enjoyed, and that really like started a community of readers with us where we talked about the book. We loved it. So that's why I went with this. So let's start by getting to know our main characters because this book is told from...
Oh, thank God. I'm so glad you're doing this.
Yes, you're welcome. This book is told from multiple perspectives through multiple characters, both in the past and present. So it was a lot to follow. So it does make sense when we talk about forgetting things because there's a lot to remember, especially in this book. So we have Jessica, who was the first to arrive at Wild Meadows. Wild Meadows was this beautiful, like, pasture castle type of environment, big, beautiful house that was run by Miss Holly Fairchild, who was a foster parent. So now we're getting into the foster children. So we'll start with Jessica. She was the first to arrive at Wild Meadows. As an adult, she works at home as an organizer or maid, but she does struggle with obsessive compulsive disorder and a dependency on certain drugs like Valium, which she often steals from her clients' homes. We also have Nora. She was the second child to join the household in the past. She's known for her fiery temperament and has a history of violence. She does currently engage in transactional relationships, often uses them to get household repairs done and kind of just to her advantage. Alicia is the last to arrive at Wild Meadows as a child and is perhaps the most emotionally grounded of the three girls as an adult. Now she is a social worker. She dedicates her life to helping children in the foster system just like she was. And though she grapples with forming intimate relationships due to her past. So then we have Miss Fairchild. She was their foster mother, like I mentioned before. On the surface, she appears nurturing and devout, but beneath that facade lies a manipulative and abusive woman who exerts control through psychological torment. So when we meet Miss Fairchild in the book, she seems like this beautiful foster mother who any child would be lucky to have. She treats Jessica, which was the first child, with like lots of love, lots of care. But then slowly we kind of start to see her adoration of Jessica waver when Jessica goes to kindergarten and starts to make her own friends. And Miss Fairchild is like really upset by this because now she's not getting all of Jessica's attention. So that's like our first little hint that Miss Fairchild is kind of deranged. But again, the story, it goes between past and present between all three of the girls and an interview with Miss Fairchild and a detective. So we get Miss Fairchild's interview with the detective where she kind of like recounts her past, which we do come to find out by the end that it's not necessarily the exact truth. But throughout the story, as you're reading it, you're like, okay, Miss Fairchild, she's been through some shit. She talks about her mom who remarried her stepfather, who became very abusive to her, both sexually and physically and verbally. So she kind of goes through that and you start to feel for Miss Fairchild like maybe this is why she is the way she is. But again, we'll get to that at the end, about what was the real truth about her story. Now let's get into like their time on Wild Meadows. So Miss Fairchild has the three girls. The three girls do form a sisterhood. Even though they are not blood sisters, they get really, really close. They all protect each other and look out for each other and definitely bond throughout the trauma that Miss Fairchild bestows upon them. She isolates them in the house. She enforces extremely strict rules. And then we fast forward to the present. The sisters have built separate lives, but their fragile peace is shattered when human remains were found beneath Wild Meadows. So the detective, her name is Ashley Patel, she contacts all three of the girls and reopens all these old wounds by thrusting them into the murder investigation because, like I said, now we have a dead body on the grounds where they grew up. So as the investigation unfolds, the sisters are forced to confront their shared past and secrets that they've buried. And each of these women deals with the resurfacing trauma differently, leading to tension and mistrust among them. So the big twist is that throughout the novel, we get glimpses into Miss Fairchild's own childhood. Like I said, she claims to have suffered abuse at the hands of her stepfather and neglect from her mother. However, it is ultimately revealed that Miss Fairchild fabricated this narrative. In reality, she was a disturbed child who murdered her younger sibling out of jealousy. Her parents, desperate to protect their remaining child, concealed the crime by burying that body under their house and concocting a story of abuse. This revelation causes Miss Fairchild's actions in new, even more this revelation casts Miss Fairchild's actions in new, even more sinister light. Not only did she inflict trauma on the girls in her care, but she also manipulated authorities with false victim narratives showing her deep-seated malevolence. One other thing I wanted to mention real quick just about what the girls went through at the hands of Miss Fairchild in their past was that she clearly was like obsessed with getting new children who were giving her like all of their attention, as babies do to mothers. They cling on to a mother figure. So I think that's what she became really obsessed with. And then as soon as the child lost interest, or if the child wasn't interested in her, if the child loved the girls, their sisters more, because they felt more like natural care from the sisters versus Miss Fairchild, she would get super abusive and blame the daughter. So that happened specifically or more intensely with one child that came into her care named Amy. She was, I think, a 2-year-old, maybe 3-year-old. She came into Miss Fairchild's care when all of the other 3 girls were like middle school age. She basically wanted Amy to love her. Amy, the child, did not love her. She cared more about being with her 3 sisters, which made Miss Fairchild very angry. She got super abusive, and the girls were scared that Miss Fairchild was going to kill Amy, literally. So that's when they decide to go to the police on Miss Fairchild and say, like, yo, our stepmom or our foster mom is crazy, she abuses us, and she's probably going to kill Amy. So the police go to find Amy, and Amy's nowhere to be found. Miss Fairchild like completely erased her from history. The girls look like they're crazy and that they're lying, okay? So fast forward to the past later, when the investigation opens because there's a body found, we find out that Amy was alive all along. She essentially did like an underground illegal adoption transaction through this like sneaky, either it was a social worker or detective that essentially gave up Amy to another family illegally and erased her from her history. So the girls were proven that, or it was proven that the girls were never crazy at all. They weren't making any of it up. In the end, Miss Fairchild is exposed for who she is. However, only we the readers find out the truth about the body under the ground being her sibling. I believe in the book it's still a mystery, like whose baby it was. There you go. Did it come back to you?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, in a big way.
Okay, good.
Okay. Thank you for the summary. I'm so glad. So the summaries are always so helpful, and we say it all the time that even if you're like, I don't read, fair. You might be interested in the shit we talk about, though, because I feel like the way that we talk about books, it's not like it's a book. We like to talk about it like these people are real.
Like it's a movie in your ear.
Yes. So listening to that summary, I'm like, damn, it brought it back.
Yeah.
So you might be into it. You never know. Let's do DBQs.
Let's do it. But before we do DBQs, I have another sponsor to tell you guys about. So these DBQs are discussion-based questions. They are brought to you by Crescent City VIP. Arrive like you mean it with Crescent City VIP, New Orleans' premier luxury transportation. Weddings, events, airport pickups, we handle it all with style. So book your ride, elevate your interest, find Crescent City VIP on social media. It is like these beautiful, beautiful vans, means of transportation to get around the city. Again, find them on social media at Crescent City VIP, and we'll be sure to link their account on our pages and in the show notes below.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
Let's jump into our first question. So we heard a lot about Miss Fairchild's little self in the summary.
Little self.
So her character is definitely both horrifying and mesmerizing in some aspects.
Yeah.
In what ways did Sally Hepworth make her believable as both a nurturer and as a villain?
Oh, that's a good question. She definitely made her believable as a nurturer in the beginning of that's a hard word, nurturer.
Nurturer.
In the beginning of the book when Jessica first arrived, because I remember Miss Fairchild having like this lovely like vibe about her. Like she was like my darling girl. Like I love you. I'll do anything you want. She like carried, I remember thinking it was funny because she would like push her around like a baby even though she was 4. And people in the book were like, she's not an infant. Like, you could try treating her. And she was like, leave us alone. She's my baby. Like, and she told Jessica, like, I didn't get this time with you as a baby. Like, I want to treat you like a baby. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, she really loves her.
Ma'am, it's giving Gypsy Rose's mother.
It's 100% giving, like, pushing her around like she was crippled.
Yeah.
Like, literally. But it did give off vibes of like, well, she's just really, really nurturing. She really wants to be there for this child who's so in need. But then I think I mentioned in the summary, quickly I realized that she was psychotic when Jessica goes to kindergarten. She's like, my darling, how was your day? She's like, I made a friend. She was like, ew.
A friend?
How dare you?
Anyone but me?
Yeah.
If I can't have you all to myself, then no one can have you at all.
That was definitely
That's
her
kind
entire
of like
spiel.
That's her and that's her.
Yeah,
That's it. Move
totally.
on. I just feel like there's probably a lot of moms that are like that.
Oh,
in
100%.
In actuality, like birth moms
Yeah.
that use that nurturing, I'm all you have. Also, it's hard, I'm sure, when you're like a foster kid in a foster home and you don't know this woman. You're just like put into this house. You have to, like, you really have no choice but to trust that person.
Yeah.
So I can see where like that type of manipulation would really like fuck with you.
Totally. And I don't think I mentioned this in the summary, but that brings up a really good point of something that happened. We do see that have like a really long lasting effect on Jessica, because at the end of the book, she gets caught like giving Miss Fairchild a hug where she's like sobbing, and she kind of reverts back to that like inner child that she was, where she relied so much on Miss Fairchild for her needs to be met and like her emotional needs to be met. She kind of like reverted back to that, which just showed all like how much that really messed Jessica up growing up, and like the kind of love that she deserves. And she still was affected by it in her adulthood. And the other sisters come out and they were like, what's going on? Because I think they were more strong. They came in a different age. Like Jessica was the youngest one when she came in, so it affected her the most. The other sisters came in more like middle school aged. So
Yeah.
I think they had a hard time understanding how Jessica could still have an emotional attachment to her abuser. So that was an interesting thing that happened as well.
That is, and I'm glad you said that, because it kind of leads into, so each sister handled that trauma differently.
Right.
So do you think that the novel suggested like a right way to heal? I don't think there's a right way to heal.
No.
However, I think some of the ways some of the sisters handled it
Wasn't the right
isn't
way.
the way I would personally handle it. But
Right.
I think that the way that Sally Hepworth, specifically designed each sister kind of represented a different way for healing with trauma.
Totally. Yeah, because Nora resulted to violence and a life of crime. She just felt like that was the only way she was going to get the things that she wanted. She stole, she like punched men in the face, which I found very funny about her, that she was just like, I'm going to do what I want. But then it always put Nora in scary situations. She ended up being remember the situation where she was being blackmailed by a creepy man to send her naked pictures, or else he was going to go to the cops on her because she punched him in the face.
Which I also feel taking of the drugs, stealing the drugs.
Yeah.
Like that's all very real and that's prevalent and happens.
Yes,
in real
and then
life with that.
Alicia struggled with intimacy. She struggled with finding connection, trusting people to actually love her for who she is, which I did like her story arc. By the end of it, she ended up being with her girlfriend and like accepted the love that she deserved, which was nice.
That was nice. How did you feel at the end? Was it a satisfying ending for you?
Okay, I was happy to know Amy was alive. So this whole time, I'm like, what the fuck happened to Amy?
I know.
Baby
I
Amy?
thought a child was dead.
Me too.
Like I
And-
thought that was the baby that they found. I'm like,
Yeah, and it wasn't.
no.
It wasn't at all.
Yes, thank God.
That was a good twist for me. I thought for sure Amy was probably dead. I thought Miss Fairchild took her to the back and
Also-
did something to her.
Like if I can't have you all to myself, no one can.
Yeah.
But wasn't her name something different? Boo Boo the Fool, because I believed Holly's story.
You did believe her story.
I did.
I don't think I did. I think
No,
I was
I
like,
did.
Something's not adding up here. It was just like so traumatic. Like the whole story, she's like, my stepfather got me pregnant, locked me in the basement. I finally escaped and my mom stole my baby. It just felt like super far-fetched. But you believed it.
I did believe it because I'm just thinking like Miss Fairchild growing up in whatever era that was. I'm like, was that common? Like, what if she had a horrible stepfather and then they're like, well, we got this baby. I guess it's just going to be our baby.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it is a psychological
me.
thriller. Crazy things do happen in these
well,
books. So when
The
you got
red herring got me.
literally the babe Amy. So yes, her name was Zara.
Zara.
At the end of the book, we find out Amy was Zara. Amy never died. She was illegally given to someone else. And they found that it was her because she had no pinky toe, which I thought was cute.
No pinky toe.
So cute.
That is. Okay. So now, yes, I did believe that. I'm going to just say it.
Say it.
This wasn't my favorite book. It was good. I mean, obviously, we love a good thriller around here.
Yep.
For me, some of it felt just so fluffy.
Yeah.
Just like too much information.
Too much.
Obviously.
Clearly, that's what I was about to say. As we're talking about this and we're like, the details aren't adding up. They're all getting crossed. I'm confused.
And maybe it was just too many fucking characters.
I think that's what it was. Too many characters and too many plot lines, which I think some people love. I think for me, I like something a little more linear, a little more clear. Although I love dual timelines, this was too many.
Thank you. Yeah. There's a difference between like going back and forth like in times and different perspectives. This was too much of it just altogether.
Yeah. Too many jumps, too many characters, too many things to remember. And I remember feeling like that when I'm reading. I'm like, okay, where's this going?
Yeah, I have an
It's gotta
average
lead-
brain.
All
I'm
roads
your-
lead to where?
Where? I have an average brain and I'm an average reader.
I'm trying to have fun while doing this. And that's the thing.
I don't want to work. I want to enjoy.
I want to enjoy.
And I
so-
was working for this one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she was popcorn and I still was like,
This one took you a little bit longer to finish versus a book that we're like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with it.
and I was like, because I could see the potential for me to want to eat it up. This is my book on paper. On paper, this is my girl.
So on
This is
paper.
my man on paper.
yeah.
But I couldn't.
Yeah, the execution, it was a little all over the place.
It was just too, it was too much.
I agree.
But if this were turned into a Real Housewives reunion special, who would flip a table, who's holding the secrets, and who's doing the confessional with their wine?
Wait, that's a funny ass question. I could totally see this. Okay, that actually reminds me. It felt like that at the end when they're all at the table and they're all like,
Yes.
wait a minute, what the fuck? And they're like, wait, you're Amy? Wait, you're Zara? You don't have a pinky toe? Like, wait, and all start connecting the dots.
It's
Okay.
a special. It's a reunion special.
I could see Miss Fairchild flipping the table because she was unhinged. She was angry. She was like, how fucking dare y'all?
You know, you're right. I didn't even think about Miss
I was going to say
Fairchild.
Nora, but because she felt like the obvious answer because she was like, you know, the loose cannon.
He was giving me obvious answer. Me, bitch, because I was like, Nora.
Nora. But think about it, Miss Fairchild was unhinged. Like, she was a liar and a manipulator the whole time. And anytime she got called out for any of her, like, really shitty actions, like, just like narcissists do, they're like, fuck you. Me? You.
Let me tell you about yourself.
Right. How dare you? Now, what was the other ones?
Who's
Flip the chair.
holding the secrets?
Who's holding the secrets? I know. Jessica. Because she held a lot of secrets throughout this whole book. The whole time, she was secretly, like, shooting the shit with Miss Fairchild,
right.
like giving the family, giving the sisters away.
Yeah.
That day that they called the police on her, it turns out she actually tipped Miss Fairchild off because she went back inside to get
my
something.
God, you're so right.
Remember
that?
that?
Was such a bitch move.
Yeah, that was. I would have been like,
Bitch move.
really, ho? We're going through all this, and you're gonna
And
tell her?
you're telling the fucking bitch.
Yeah. So she went back inside to get something, and apparently Miss Fairchild was like, "What's going on?"
Okay, let's talk about our next on the shelves. We're doing something a little different. We're actually going to. Do I have a brain right now? We're actually going to talk about the next two books we're going to be reading. I don't know why I was trying to make that so elaborate. So, in her most tender and soul-stirring novel yet, Emily Henry explores what it means to start over, love deeply, and choose joy, even when life doesn't go according to plan. With her signature blend of wit and warmth, Great Big Beautiful Life invites readers into a story of second chances, unexpected friendships, and the messy, magical process of finding yourself again.
This will be, I just want to mention this. This will be our very first Emily Henry book.
Yes.
My very first Emily Henry book. I think you started one, right?
Yes, I started
Happy Place?
Happy Place. Thank you. I was about to be like funny people, but one was like funny something.
Funny something. Funny story.
Funny story. I did DNF Happy Place. I'm not even going to lie about it.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to see where this...
Here we go, dipping our toes into a genre that is not a thriller.
Yeah, and people love Emily Henry books. So we
You
won't
either
hold back.
love or you don't.
Yeah, and we won't hold back. We're going to be honest about it. It's
Yeah.
not our typical genre. We really like psychological thrillers, but this book is huge. It's everywhere. So we can't miss out on it.
We'll see.
So read it with us. We definitely want to get everyone's opinions on this. Okay, what's
great-
next?
A great big beautiful tomorrow. I'm calling the title everything except for
big,
what
like, why are there so many words?
Great big beautiful life. Okay. Our other book that we are going to cover is The Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. What happens when a deadly security robot overrides its programming and just wants to be left alone to watch soap operas? Enter The Murderbot Diaries, a sharp, thrilling, and darkly funny sci-fi series about autonomy, humanity, and the awkwardness of feelings. Murderbot might be the most reliable AI you've ever met. Just don't expect it to like you back. I'm really, really excited about that one. We have, some cool things in the works for that one as well.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for this one. So I actually did start this on audiobook, and I wanted to mention this because...
Oh, good point.
Yes, if you like audiobooks like me, I'm in my audiobook era for sure. This is like an immersive audiobook. So it's the first of the series. So it's Murderbot Diaries series. This one is called All Systems Red, I believe is the first one. And I don't know if they've recently adapted it into an immersive audiobook since it's becoming an Apple TV show, but it's really cool. So there's a voice for every single character. There's different narrators. There's background noises. If there's like a boom, you hear a boom. So I find it really interesting.
That's really cool.
It is. It's the first like immersive audiobook I've ever had. I think the closest we had to that was that Lisa Jewell book that we read. None of this is true. They had like some like chatter in the back if they were like at a cafe.
That was a really good book.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is audiobook it if possible.
I think you should if possible. If you enjoy audiobooks, definitely listen to this on audiobook with us. One, because it sounds like a movie in your ear, and two, because it's about to be an Apple TV show. So you can be part of the conversation when we break it down, compare book to show,
the show.
which is like the most fun thing to do. It's so fun to be like,
We're going to be sat.
I read the book.
But is the book better? We don't know.
We'll find out.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, so read that one. I believe the show comes out on May 19th.
May 19th, we'll be there.
All right, I think we're done.
Love you guys.
Thank you so much. Follow us on Instagram at Open Books Podcast, TikTok at The Open Books Podcast. Leave us a review. We know that's how we reach people. That's how the podcast algorithm pushes us out. So leave us a review.
If you love us, tell the world.
Love ya. Bye.
Bye.